Well, I've tamed the anxiety down to just simply butterflies. Here's the funny part. The funny part, how my mind works, is that I wrote up my notes for the speech, and then I did the outline. That's pretty scary. But I think it speaks volumes about who I am. And what I'm here to talk to you about for the next year. I've heard a lot of things over the last couple of days that have been very warm and welcoming, and it speaks volumes about what BOMA International is, which I will shorten to BOMA, because we're all part of BOMA. Family, friendship, fellowship, community. And a word I heard yesterday and I'm going to ask everyone to make a change. We call things D, E, and I. Everyone loves acronyms. I think diversity, equity, and inclusion is done a disservice by turning it into an acronym. And the phrase that I heard there yesterday was belonging. And it touched me. It touched me because it speaks to the fact that sometimes we don't feel welcomed. And I think we all could do a better job, myself included, because I am human, of welcoming. I like to say at Zeller Realty Group, or Zeller, that it takes a village. There's no I in we. And that without the people, we have nothing. We've had some amazing accomplishments this year. The reuniting of BOMA with BOMA International, I'm so excited by that. Small note in fact, I started my journey in BOMA in 1991 as a BOMA RPA instructor for BOMA Chicago. I retired because my bandwidth was stretched in 2016. That was a 25-year journey that enriched me tremendously. Very shortly after the beginning of that journey, I became the education chairperson for BOMA Chicago. I found something that I loved. I'm also an anomaly because my background is leasing and marketing, not property management. But I found my people. You know, I like to say that I didn't have Uncle Bill, who was a vice president at a bank. My father drove a truck for the same company for 38 years. How things have changed. And I needed to find my people to move on in the industry and become a success. Success happens because of collaboration. We live in a time of unbelievable change. I have embraced the concept of servant leader. That means that I work for you, notwithstanding my title. Make no mistake, I have an ego. But it is something that I like to try and keep in check. I also like to remember where I have come from. And I think one of the greatest attributes of a leader is humility. It's something I continue to attempt to embrace. But again, I'm human. Like all of you, I have my good days and I have my bad days. I'm going to start with the thank yous, which, oh my. My BOMA Chicago family, who was the first BOMA to embrace me. My Zeller family, who continues to support me in my journey. Michael Cornicelli, who was the first person to nominate me to become a BOMA Fellow. I declined that opportunity because I didn't think I was ready. Becky Hanner, who, when in my naivety, I decided as a member of the finance committee to interview to be the finance chair, didn't crush me. She embraced me and she encouraged me to continue my journey. There's Steve Herron at Zeller Realty Group. There is Farzan Parang for BOMA Chicago, who was the changing of the guard while I was deeply involved in BOMA International. And one of my passions, because of the competition between some of the locals in BOMA International, I wanted to make sure that I did the best job that I could of bringing BOMA Chicago closer to BOMA International. And then there's people that I passed along the way, and I'll stop there. People like Mark Dukes, who's become a good friend and an inspiration to me. Randall Fobelius, who's showed me the way with great passion and wonderful grace, who brings all of us together. The other officers, Manny Marino, Murray Green, we've all worked together as one unit to get things done. The BAEs were the lifeblood of this organization, who every one of you that I've interacted with have embraced me and helped me in some way. The BOMA staff, oh my goodness, I could not do any job like this one without you. The BOMA Institute staff, now BOMA, what you bring to BOMA International, we have barely scratched the surface of the opportunity. Things that we've done this year, which I am not going to diminish, the reuniting of BOMA and BOMI, the signing of BOMA Best and bringing BOMA Best to BOMA International, the people that worked on all of those things tirelessly, the instituting of a carbon symposium, which was wildly successful in terms of how it was embraced, showed the leadership that BOMA International can provide to the industry and the business community. The fact that now we're pivoting it to an annual event, but not repeating the carbon reduction symposium, but turning it into a public policy symposium that will be held annually. This emphasizes the focus of change. I've talked about it to a lot of people, and the speed of change, and are willing to embrace the speed of change. I'm 65 years old, and I try to be the youngest 65-year-old in the room. I want to encourage each and every one of you to think as young as you possibly can. And we all need to embrace the idea that we can learn things from those that are younger than us. They embrace the change at the speed that they're used to. It's not a speed that I'm used to. I can learn from them. I talk often about having a younger person be a mentor to you. I think it's really important to think about that. It will make a difference to you. And you should also continue to mentor. I've been blessed by this industry. So many of you have touched me in ways that I can't even begin to number. I learned from my parents how important it was to pay it forward and to do things with an open heart. The two things for me that are the most important, and make no mistake, I realize we have much to do with the integration of BOMA and the rollout of BOMA Best. But as I started to say, the focus needs to be on the people. We have changing demographics that have turned our world upside down. The most important initiative, well, one of, not the most important, but one very important initiative for BOMA International and for me is workforce development. We have a smaller group of people coming into the workforce. They're not prepared, they don't have the skills, and we need to reach out to them. We need to help them understand about the industry. We need to introduce them to the industry. We need to make sure that they have the skill sets, that they're prepared, and it's easy for them. To me, though, the most important initiative, which seems, because 2020 seems so long ago, and because we're at an inflection point, because a lot of us are getting pushback, it's time to hold the ground, and it's time to push back the other way. And that is diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have made great progress. We have much further to go. I'm going to implore you all, that as the BOMA family, we are more alike than we are different. Let's embrace that strength and make a difference. I'm going to share with you some facts that I think are eye-opening. DEI in commercial real estate. We need to up our game in promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace and the built environment. We need to make sure that diversity, equity, and inclusion not only applies to race, it's just not a black and white issue, but also improves gender equity, is inclusive for the LGBTQIA plus community, but also includes people with disabilities. With 15% of the world population having some form of disability, it's really important that we become passionate about that. Here's a fun fact, and I don't mean to say it that way, other than to point out to you it's something that you should know but you don't know. Did you know that 46% of the LGBTQIA plus community have not come out in the workplace because of fear? That makes me very sad. I have a daughter who is a therapist who specializes on non-binary humans. She's constantly educating me. Improved DEI is all, and I'm going to stop myself because I made the mistake. Improved diversity, equity, and inclusion is also better for business. Chicago-based business intelligence platform CloverPop showing that diverse and inclusive organizations outperform their peers. For example, 87% make better decisions and 70% have higher growth. That should be a reason why you should embrace it. The positive impact from pay parity includes attracting more diverse talent pools, elevating employee trust and leadership, and much, much more. I'd be happy to share the source of this with all of you. Another crucial component of diversity, equity, and inclusion is understanding the implications of changing workforce demographics, adapting HR practices and business operations accordingly. I can't thank you enough for listening to me this morning. I also want to talk about, everyone wants to point to crime and what's going on in our community. You know, the fact of the matter is, it's mental health issues. In closing, I want to say this to you all. We've had 4 very long, very hard, very rough unprecedented years. Everyone is hurting. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. I encourage you all to open your hearts and to embrace each other with love, equity, and kindness. And I look forward to working with you all in the coming year. Thank you very much.